Hey everyone, today we're here with the Dynam PBY Catalina. I've had this model for a few years now, and I recently made some changes to it based on some flight experience I had with it last year. And one of the things I did this spring to it was actually add the safe receiver out of the Apprentice. You may ask, why would you do that? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, the Apprentice safe has AS3X already built into it, which is very useful for this type of aircraft. And the reason is with this huge wing, it has a tendency to if you're inside of any type of a turn and it catches any type of a wind, it really tries to flip the aircraft over. And you're constantly fighting on the sticks to try to keep the aircraft steady. It really seemed to be a little unsure of itself in the air if there's any type of wind at all. On perfectly calm days, no problem at all. But AS3X really helps smooth out what to do with any type of a wind with my other aircraft, so I decided to go ahead and add it to this one as well. Another reason why I wanted to use the safe receiver out of the Apprentice is the wing leveling feature that it has. And if you're going to do the type of water landing, or even if you're going to land this thing on grass like I currently do, you want to make sure this thing is perfectly level to the ground at touchdown. You don't want one of the floats to grab first and spin the aircraft around. You want to make sure that you set this thing down as flat as possible. So while I don't really need that ability, I seem to be pretty good at landing the aircraft the way it is without having safe. It's a nice feature to have that if I needed it for anything, I could flip a switch on my DX6, activate safe, and I could make sure the aircraft is leveled out. For the most part, just like all the rest of my aircraft with safe, I'll be flying it in experience mode only. The aircraft really doesn't need any bank limitation or pitch or yaw limitations that you get with safe. But AS3X is the primary reason that I got it, and I didn't really want to get into one that you had to program. That seemed to me like that was a great way to have a mistake and crash an airplane. So I went with one that's already pre-programmed, and one that already has been proven to work quite well in the PBY Catalina. There's plenty of other owners that have done the same and made it work. However, there are a few things that you're going to need to do in order to make safe work, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So you go ahead and you order up your safe receiver. You can either get a brand new one from Horizon Hobby, from E-Flite, or you can buy a used one from RC Groups or any of the other sites around. Sometimes even hobby shops have them where guys really like the Apprentice and they take the receiver out because they want to do FPV flying and they don't want to have the limitations of the safe receiver. So go ahead and pick one of those things I've used. Let's go ahead and pop the battery hatch open here. Still held in by magnets, nothing unique there. And I'm going to going to get the aircraft tipped up here a little bit. You can see there is the E-Flite Apprentice safe receiver installed. I have it installed up on these little foam risers there to make sure that if any water gets in, that it stays up above the water. And then, of course, everything is just plugged in normally. Now, this is where you're going to run into some problems. If you plug it in normally and you don't do anything to it, what you're going to find is that the rudder and elevator will be reversed on the Dynam PBY. I don't exactly know why that is, other than I can say that that is a problem, and it's a problem that others have had as well. So I picked up a set of Turnigy servo reversers, and they go right out of the receiver, between the receiver and the servo wire for the rudder and the elevator. And that will make sure that the rudder and elevator move correctly. So when AS3X is active in those two control surfaces, they move in the required directions. Now the other thing you're going to need to do is, because the PBY is a twin engine, and the safe receiver doesn't understand the twin engine, you're going to need to arm the ESCs a little differently. And to do that, you need to install a switch. Let's go ahead and prop this thing up again. Here I have my switch just kind of tucked up underneath here, opposite side of the receiver. It's just a simple on-off switch, and this goes, I have the throttle wire coming out of the receiver, and then I have in between the throttle wire and the two ESCs mounted in the wing, I have the switch. And then it goes from the switch into the Y into here. So it's a single in, single out on the switch. So let's go ahead and show you how this works. Let's go ahead and power up the DX6. Go in, select our PBY. Okay, PBY is selected. Make sure our throttle, of course, is in the down position. That's one bad thing I don't like about the PBY is you have to put the batteries in right around the props here. But, oh well, you just got to get used to it and make sure that the throttle is down when you plug this in. So, go ahead and put the battery in. Go ahead, the switch is in the off position. We'll go ahead and connect the battery. Okay, give it a few seconds there, a couple beeps, and go ahead and switch it to the on position. You can hear all the control surfaces activate. It's going to run through its system check, through its initialization, done. There we go. The system is now energized, and I can show you by advancing the throttle here a little bit. Both motors will turn, and that's the key in order to get the E-Flite Apprentice receiver to work with a twin-engine aircraft. I imagine that's going to work with multiple different aircraft other than the PBY, but that's one thing you're going to have to do in order to make this thing to work. As you can see, all the rest of our services work just fine. We are in high rates here, of course, and let's switch over. We can actually go over to beginner mode here, and you can see that the elevators aren't quite as effective. There we go. So yeah, all modes work just fine. Add the servo reversers and the on-off switch there for the ESCs, and you can easily install the E-Flite Apprentice safe receiver inside your Dynam PBY Catalina. So that's it. Hope this guys was a big help to you. I'd like to thank the guys on the RC groups for their assistance. Without them, I would have been stuck trying to figure this out on my own. So if you can always go to RC groups and do some searching. You'll find a lot of really great resources there as well. So that's what's been helping me out. Hope this was helpful for you guys.